Walking through the Americans. Mostly be walking through the American stuff. Joe, you've got on mute to ask. Joe.
So my question is, can we safely assume now that what's ever in the folder, the American, Georgian, and Armenian songs are all to be printed out? They're in their final version and we're going to print them out now, or are there likely to, is there any reason to hold off on any of it?
We should maybe Ray and Lewis and I will take one more look at it, and now that we know about Daniel Fried, I'd like to loop Daniel Fried into the conversation and confirm that he's going to join us. I think if he's going to be along, I think we should really bring him into the conversation, Lewis.
Right.
And so maybe give us another few days before firing up the printer.
Is the new conductor?
Wait till Wednesday. He's the current YRC conductor. That seems like a respectful thing to do.
Yeah.
I know if it were me there, I would want to, be asked about stuff.
Right. We might subtract, but we won't. We're not planning to add at this point.
Excuse me just a second.
Yeah.
Lewis, there's a message from Ray on email about he's being requested for a passcode or something to get into the Zoom.
Well, that's he's the only one who's getting that, but I will. All right. So you guys keep talking. I'll dig a hold of the
link. Can I ask, is Daniel Fried, is that his name, the new conductor?
Yes.
Is he coming on the Georgia Armenia tour?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay, we're in a possibly. Okay. Hopefully.
Hey, there you are, Richard.
Hello.
Hello.
Video to work.
Yeah. So just for your awareness, the campus chorus, they're not as communicative as they could be, and what they have told us is that everybody who's not a senior is thinking of coming on the tour. But we don't yet have any definite names. Yes, I am on the tour. No
Right.
one has said that yet. But let's hope that they follow through and not fall through, and in which case we'll have 8 undergrads joining us on the tour.
Nice. Well, good. That'll be great. We'll be hopeful for all that.
Right.
Anyway, so I don't know if that's conclusive enough about next week. I think we'll spend most of our time on that clutch of that bouquet of American songs, and just to allay anybody's concerns, they're all pretty straightforward. They're a ton of fun. Some guys from my vintage will know. Everybody I think knows Little Lamb. Some guys will remember Poor Man Lazarus from the 77 or 79 tours. Ain't It That Good News, I think we did a couple times, at least at parties. And then Simple Gifts and How Can I Keep From Singing are very straightforward, harmony in thirds and sixths, short. And then the swing number is close harmony, but it's a lot of fun. I can't think of what else is in there. Also, Dave Geltman, Glenn Allen, Chris Smith, who will be on future calls. I can't he might be in the call on the 11th, although we're all isolated for that. And with the possible addition of Steve Engel from Kuzma's vintage. These guys know it, and they know individual parts. So we already have a second tenor, a baritone, and a bass who know the parts, because those arrangements were done for my men's course here in Boston, which those guys are members of. So there's somebody embedded in each section who already knows the part and has been performing it. So we've got a leg up.
Right.
And they can all also be done with small ensembles. So if, you know, if there's a problem with getting the New Haven kids to learn them, or there's a slow learning curve, and we're not learning them quickly on the bus from Tbilisi to Yerevan, the first couple concerts, we could do a pull-out group, and they would be fine with 10 or 12 singers instead of 20. Anyway, Joe,
Is the expectation that we are going to use the music, or are certain pieces to be memorized? It'd be nice to know that. at the
I think
beginning.
I think the expectation is that songs new to you can be on book for the entire tour. So the hope is that the songs that you performed with the chorus regularly in New Haven or on anniversary concerts, you'll be off book leading enthusiastically. The songs you're learning for this tour, you can be on book or on tablet. Conductors will likely be leading you from memory and hoping for eye contact. And so the American songs will probably be on book from everybody. And then the Georgian songs will be off book from the people who know them. The Armenian songs will be off book from the people who've had them in their repertory. So maybe 3/5 of the group will be using music for the Armenian, except for Tsmindao, where maybe 1/5 of the group will need the music, etc. So get out your slide rule.
So that's
I think I'm the last generation that had to use a slide rule. Hey, John, excellent. Cool.
yeah, slide rules, they were great, weren't they?
I think I was the last science major at Yale to use one exclusively.
When you gave up science.
So that's what I want. Part of what I wanted to go through is just go down the list and of songs that we have on the repertoire list, and just check to see what, you know, how many people know them, how many people plan to know them. It's going to require some amount of practice and study on your own, since we're all dispersed. But let's sort of just get a quick census to see where we're at, and which ones are likely to be for the full group and which might be a smaller group. So first of all, ain't of that good news? How many people know that? Okay, and those that don't, how many are comfortable learning it? Okay, so I think we're good there. How about Aktistep Shirokaya? How many people know that one? Okay, so we should be good with that. The Aslanuri Mlavajamier, how many people know that? Okay, a few, not too many. All right, so Ray is still having trouble logging in, but we'll check with them. That could be, that's a good small group piece if we don't manage to get the whole group together.
Louis, just a question.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the folder with the tour repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
What title do you have it under? I don't see that name.
Aslanuri.
Aslanuri Mlavajamieri. It's under A. It's at the top of the list.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. It's from the songbook.
Right. Right. Aslanuri means it's Aslan's Mlavajamia. Okay. Blagoslovi, how many people know that? Okay, so we're in good shape there. Blažen Mush, how about that? Okay, we'll go back to that at the end of the of the session. We'll talk about the changes for to Blažen Mush. Glasomoyim, how are we with that? Okay, we're in good shape, and Ray is on his way in. Yay. Okay, next one. Gorani, that is or Gorani, that's a new one, of course, Armenian. How many people are interested in learning that? Okay, we got a fair number. And I see Richard, you have a note, but it's obscured by, you're gonna have to leave in 10 minutes. All right, well,
No.
Louis, you changed the question. You changed from how many know it to how many are willing to learn it.
well, I assume in the case of Guarani, no one knows it.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
it's new.
Fair enough.
All right,
Sorry for the confusion, Louis. I was off topic.
right. High Barbary, how many people know that?
Pretty well.
A small number. And we'll have, although it's a sentimental favorite, we'll have to look at that, Steve, because it has obscure nautical terminology that Georgians won't understand, and it might end up being a party song rather than the real deal. But let's talk about that, okay? How can I keep from singing? That's one of Steve's arrangements. How many people are game for that? Okay, so we're good there. I'll skip over the Armenians. In each case, we're going to have to focus and learn those. Kalinka, how many people are good with Kalinka? Okay, so we're fine there. Kastyatati, how are we on that? All right. Chvalitie imя Господне, how are we with that? Okay, we're in pretty good shape there. Little Innocent Lamb, we're good with that, right? Yeah, I think we're fine there. Nesedi Jamo, are we all good on that? All right. Odoya, first of all, how many people know Odoya now? We've got 3, maybe 4. How many people are game to learn it?
Is this our version, John? Have you looked at it?
I haven't looked at it. I know there's a dozen songs called Odoya, but I was
Yeah.
assuming it's our version.
It's the one that goes, Odoia. Is that one? That the one? Odoia?
Is it some variation of what Billy Joel used on his live record?
Ray is trying to.
Odoia, right? Ray is singing. Turn up.
Odoya, Odoya,
Oh, okay, that one. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one.
I know that one.
All right, good.
Oh.
The Pasture, how many people have done that? Oh, quite a few. And how many are game to learn it?
Joe Finetti, you've done it.
I've done many versions of that text, so I have no idea which one that is, but I guess I've done it.
Joe, I think you did it because we took it on tour. And you and Ray were both in the chorus at that time.
Yeah.
And Ray's
And
done
I know it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Randall
is that?
Thompson.
It's a Russian? No, it's in
It's
English?
Frost. It's the Frost lyric.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
and
Randall Thompson. Yeah,
either
yeah.
Eric will play the piano and I'll conduct, or I'll play the piano and Eric will conduct.
Got it.
And nobody
Anything
will
by
know
Randall Thompson,
nobody
I'm
will
gonna
know the
love.
difference.
Okay.
We sang his version of Stopping by Woods on the Russia tour in my day.
Yeah, that's harder that's harder for the pianist. We want to have fun on this tour. We don't want to have to practice.
Paiduli, we're good with that, right? Okay. Poor Man Lazarus, how many people have done that? A few. So So Steve, you'll need to bring us up to speed on that. Ride the Chariot. How many people feel good on that? All right, so we're very good there. We've got two Shenharvanachis on the list. The one that we all know, and then the Gurian version. How many people know the Gurian version? Oh, okay, so at least a small group.
I should say that those who know the Gurian version, there are lots of versions of the Gurian version. So even those people are going to have to check it out.
Right.
But we have finally stamped out the Ivarian heresy.
That's right. That's right. But also, again, and this goes for all the Georgian stuff. I don't know if you've already said this, Louis, before I got on, but everybody needs to learn the bani, the bass part. Everybody should be able to sing the bass part, regardless of what part they actually know. Please learn the bass part in addition.
So that's
Georgian music. Do we still need volunteers, second tenor volunteers, to maybe shift down to bass or baritone?
Yeah, and first tenors.
Yeah.
Like everybody needs to know the bass. And you know, in the Gurian Shenharvanaki, the bass is great. It's a great part. So it's not a drone. So
right. So everyone should learn the bass part in all the Georgian stuff. And we've had a few volunteers to go down to bass and other parts, and that's most welcome. We're still a little weak on first tenors. So anyone who thinks they can pull first tenor out of the bag, that would be great. Let's see, next on the list, simple gifts. How many have done Steve's arrangement of simple gifts? Okay, so we'll assume that we're good with that.
And if you haven't, it's three parts, and the tenors, it's tenor, baritone, bass, and the tenor part is the tune. And I think we're light on tenors, you said, or
we're light on first tenors.
okay. So any self-designated second tenors could learn the baritone part, and baritones could learn the bass part, and then, you know, and the rest of half the second tenors could just sing the tune, and then it's, you know, it's an easy learn. It's a quick study.
Well, good. I'm sure we'll be fine there. And similarly, Steal Away to Jesus. How many people have done that? Quite a few. So we're good there. Surp Surp, the Armenian Komitas piece. How many people have done that before? Oh, quite a few. Okay, so we should be good there. Just to note, there were a couple, and I mentioned this before, there are a couple of errors in Guy Brewer's transcriptions, not big ones, but be sure you look at the new score and use that as a reference. They can't take that away from me. Is that your arrangement, Steve?
No, that's a terrific published arrangement. I'm blanking on the name of the guy, but he's first rate. That's a really fun swing arrangement. And Eric will be at the piano, and I'll be on clarinet.
Good. Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
How many people have done that before?
Just David, Glenn, Chris Smart, and Steve Engel if he joins.
Okay. All right.
Is that the famous "You Can't Take That Away From Me" jazz tune?
Oh yeah, that's the Gershwin brothers.
It's the famous one. Okay,
Yeah. There's only one.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark Hayes is the arranger.
Oh, he's a great arranger. So
who did it?
Yeah.
Mark Hayes.
Yeah, Mark Hayes. And I meant to say earlier, all of my charts and the pasture, which is pretty straightforward. I have audio study files. So I've made tracks for the 4-part and the 3-part men's chorus things that I can make available so people can hear me singing through the lines with some harmonic context for for people who don't have access to a keyboard or aren't good at, learning parts on their own.
Let's do this, Steve. Send links to me and I'll add them to the study materials.
Okay, I
We
just
have
have
them.
to,
Yeah.
I have to dig them out or download them from my men's
Whatever.
chorus
Okay.
website. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Smindal Humerto, how many people have done that before? All right, so we're good there. Bandura, Siavpia Banduru, how many people have done that before? A couple. Okay. So
Parties, just at parties.
Heard it on the Phillips album. That's it.
all right, for now we'll put it as a small group, and hopefully we can learn it on the tour if we don't learn it beforehand. But I really want, for those who know it, it's a great Ukrainian song, and it's not military, so it would be a great thing for us to get back into the into circulation if we can. So we'll spend some time going over that. Yerevan Bagamarel, how many people have done that before? Okay, we're good there. And Zirvalasya Kurtovina, how many people have done that? Very good. Well, I think it looks like everything's in good shape. There are maybe a few that we demote to small group status, but otherwise, I think we're in pretty good shape to cover that repertoire, which is good.
Louis, can I just ask, because I was so late getting on, how many people knew Asla Nuri Mravel Jamir?
That's sort of in the small group category right now.
Okay. And Lila?
Oh, Lila. I overlooked Lila. How many people know Lila?
Okay, so not that many, but it's worth learning.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds to me as if for the Zoom time, we'll need to spend the bulk of it on the Georgian and Armenian stuff, as well as Bandura, and of course we're going to be going over the American stuff next week. So I think otherwise we should be in pretty good shape. John Mark, you have a question?
Yes, again, I don't see Bandura listed in the.
Yeah, the actual title, it's under V, Zjavbija Banduru.
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
Yes, the accusative case of Bandura, but I'll make a note that that's Bandura for short.
Why don't I suggest for next week, the 11th, January 11th, 3:45 session, I'll put all the American stuff on the session, but as bonus tracks, we'll hope to get to Bandura and Lila.
Okay, sounds good.
And
Bernie, you have a
sweeteners.
You have a comment?
I have a question. Was it thought to doing Sangala?
We thought about it, but it's a lot of work to get
it right.
Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Plus, I think it's kind of a joke sort of song. It's not.
Okay, we don't want to do joke songs. Good heavens.
We'll be jokes enough.
At parties, right? It gets done at parties badly.
What about the more popular Georgian segment? We don't necessarily do that much of that in the chorus, but were there any thoughts around any more popular Georgian stuff that we could throw in, or?
Oh, you mean
not
like
religious?
You mean like city songs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't know. Just I mean, I leave it to you guys to think about, but
there's no shortage of great Georgian songs that we could do. So
right.
It's really a matter of narrowing it down. And
right.
So, that's really the thing. And I just wanted to kind of needed to get a Svan tune in there.
Right.
Really wanted to get a Gurian tune in. and then Smindao and Shankar we already know. So
What about Kaviria?
Yes, what about Kaviria?
well, so Kveria, the Kveria that we know, I guess a lot of people actually know it, but it's not traditional, right? It's composed, so it's not traditional Svan. You know, I was with Vako Bilpani, and I said, what about Kveria? And he said, oh, what Kveria? So I started singing it. He said, oh, yeah, this was composed in the '60s or something. I mean, it is great. Yeah, I really like it, but it's not Svan.
Okay.
It's somebody's impression of Svan. So.
And just
Okay.
keep in mind, the Georgians want to hear American stuff. They don't,
Right.
you know, they'll tolerate some badly sung Georgian stuff.
Some
but-
Georgian, right.
Right.
Well, actually, I will say the Georgians, you know, we go and we do our best, and you know, we don't sound like Georgians, but they are very generous. They love to hear us attempt it, especially if it's clear that we're really, you know, it's a serious attempt. We're not westernizing everything. We're really trying to sing it the right way.
We're not mocking it.
They really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
And
Yeah.
Ray has curated a really beautiful set, I think, and I don't think we should try to do everything we love of their music.
Totally agree.
You know?
I totally agree with that.
I
Yeah.
just want to add a quick hello to Fiona and her dog. And Fiona, I also want to confirm that you're a first tenor on this tour.
Second.
Awesome.
Typically second. I mean, I can maybe stretch
Yeah,
up into first, but there's some stuff up there I can't get to.
Yeah. So start warming up. You know, add a semitone each week or month or fortnight, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, the Georgian and Armenian parts, the first tenor parts are not high. They're not crazy high like some of the Russian arrangements. So they should.
Well, I don't think any of the music is high for somebody with 2 X chromosomes.
Well,
It's the
I
rest
can do
of us.
soprano, I can do second tenor, but I got a weird break in the middle. So
right.
we'll make it work.
Well,
whatever
we'll cover you there. We'll cover you at the
Thanks.
break. It's above the break that we run into trouble. All right, enough said.
Okay. All
And
right.
maybe the dog. Can you bring the dog? The dog could probably cover those high descant notes.
Yeah, she might be distracting in other ways.
Primanchuli.
So for the benefit of people who joined late, we went through the list of repertoire, and again, we didn't include everything, but what we have included, we think we can comfortably master and prepare for the tour. We all, as many as possible, will be getting together the weekend of March 7th through 9th in DC, and so we'll get a chance to tune up there. So if there aren't any other further questions, yeah, Joe, go ahead.
A comment and a question. I think for many of us who've sung these spirituals at parties, I suspect that unlearning will be as difficult as learning, because I think we've sung various versions, and so we have to be, if we want to sound good, we've got to really try to follow the part and not sing for Burnside, we fought along the main. Now that would be the smallest problem.
Right.
So my question is, there seemed to be some sense of urgency from Graham that we make our reservations. Did I sense that correctly? And does he have any suggestions as to, you know, better airlines to use for traveling to Georgia? Any thoughts?
Actually, let me speak to that. I should have spoken that to that first, but since everyone's on the call, it's great. David, you have a question before I talk about travel?
Yeah, it's about the Washington DC weekend.
Please.
Just if you could repeat the timing for when you want people to arrive on Friday in order to participate in whatever is going on and where we should be.
Assume that there will be something in DC starting at 7:30 p.m. on Friday. I would like to be more specific than that, but the YRC is not very communicative. So we'll just plan to be there and something good will happen. Okay.
Thank you.
And what
Ernie,
I've
you have
done
another-
is, what I've
Yeah.
done is I'm hoping that there might be something through Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
And-
let's agree on that. So we will do something Friday night, either a rehearsal or a concert. Saturday will be rehearsal and concert, if there is a concert. We will try to, Sunday, we will try to crash a church service somewhere and sing as part of that. And then we'll have some time in the afternoon. And then after that, people can take off. Does that sound good to you, Steve?
Yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, I think my flight out is like 9:30, 9:15, 9:30, because I wasn't sure what, I wanted to stick around for anything going on that might involve rehearsing or planning.
Yeah. John?
I was wondering, Steve, could you just email me your flights? Because I I don't think I can make it, but if I can, I'll make the same arrangements you make.
Sure, I found some American airline flights. Yeah, I'll do that.
Ernie and then Ray.
Okay, I just wanted to jump in if there's any quick rundown on political developments in Georgia. I don't know if anyone's been following that, but the situation is pretty unsettled, and it may get less unsettled, but it could also get really more unsettled really fast. Just curious if you're talking with Mr. Graham about that at all.
We are tracking that, and it's still at people
Yeah.
are protesting, and that's fine. I think if we get to the point where protesters are being arrested, then we need to take a harder look. But
Right.
his position up to now is people are voicing their opinions, and it's a free country and they're free to voice their opinions. So we're not happy that the government is that Georgian Dream is playing games, but so far it doesn't rise to the level that would cause us to cancel a trip.
Right.
Ray,
Okay.
anything you'd want to add there?
Yeah, I would just say, actually, some people are being arrested. But, my view on it is, in order not to be arrested, all they have to do is stay away from the Parliament buildings. And, I don't expect that to change because tourism is important even to the Georgian Dream government. So it would take a severe turn, I think, for it to interfere with our tour.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I had just a couple of things I just wanted to say about Lila. If you're looking at Lila, the transcription is exactly what is in the videos and the audios. So what's in the audio is exactly the version that we're singing. But for Odoia, we don't have an audio or a video of exactly the version that we have a chart for. It's close, but it's not exact. And I would say, learn the version that's in the chart. But in terms of the movement and the spirit, it should be what's in the videos. It might be, maybe we'll do it a little bit faster than they do. They take some long pauses that I don't like. So maybe those are real Georgians do that, but we're not going to pretend to be Georgian. So,
Is that
and
the same version, Ray, that is on John's website?
it is now. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if it's the same as what's always been there.
Oh, okay.
If you were at my master's recital in 1981, Eric and Stu Gelzer and Joe, were you the fourth? I can't, there were four
I
of us.
probably was.
I think the four of
I-
us sang Odoia on my Master of Music and Choral Conducting recital.
Ah,
First and last time that Georgian music was performed to in partial fulfillment of the Master of Music and Choral Conducting at the Yale School of Music. We did Odoia there. So that's, you can sing it that way if you remember how that went. 1981. I remember it like it was yesterday.
and there was something else. Oh, I was going to say, if you're planning on joining or if you're available to join the YRC on their DC tour, I volunteered to, because they have a slew of first tenors. So I said, I'll learn whatever part you need. And so I am going to be singing baritone on that. So if there are others who can sing baritone in particular, you would be gold as far as the current chorus is concerned. So if you can
my
join,
natural part, so it's not a.
if you can join the rest of the tour, I mean,
Absolutely.
through the
And
tour.
like I said earlier, as soon as they deign to provide us information about the tour, I'll be happy to share it. I'm a little concerned because winter break is an opportunity for them to get busy and line up gigs. And I don't hear that happening, but hopefully.
Well, actually, Andre did say on our earlier call that Yelena is on to it now.
Good.
So she's
good.
just sort of started now, but they have another week. They're off for another week. So
Okay. All right.
One question along the lines of parts for the YRC songs. I know them as baritone. That's what I learned, but now I sing bass in chorus. How are we for basses? Is there any value in learning the bass parts?
There's never enough basses, John Mark.
Oh, really?
That's why I went into exile from the second tenor section, because I saw basses as the need. That's true in general, and it's particularly true for this group.
Who is singing bass, Louis, besides you?
I could
Andrew is,
maybe,
I think. A couple of others. Okay.
I could try
I should be
to,
as well.
I could try to learn the bass parts and like John Mark, I seem to have my range has seemed to have gone down.
You're not the only one. Yeah. What I would say is, don't sweat it. If you memorized second tenor and it's going to be a struggle to unmemorize it, that's fine. But certainly for new stuff, if you can do the lower part, do it. Okay. And a lot of it is 3-part. The Georgian and Armenian. There's a couple of 4 parts, but a lot of it, most of it is 3 parts. So it shouldn't be a big stretch. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Ray, you still have your hands up? Is there something else you wanted to bring up?
no,
okay.
I think I'm done. Thanks.
All right. Yeah. All right. So regarding travel, so what I was originally thinking was maybe we had a critical mass to get a group rate. And it doesn't look like that's happening because people are flying from different cities. Some people are staying for the Svanetti extension. Some people are not. Maybe there would be more people out of New York if the students were doing it, but I don't know for sure yet. So John Graham's advice is don't wait, go ahead and book. And it's not critical, but the problem is that there aren't a lot of flights. Now, I'm happy to share with you flights that I found in and out of major cities like DC, LA, etc. Some people have already booked out of Boston. There's an option there. And Ray, who's that joining us on the call?
This is Rose.
Rose.
Rose just had her first birthday in
Ah.
December.
Oh, good.
Say hi.
Hi, Rose.
You can wave.
So has Rose been on Zoom before?
Hi,
No,
Rose.
this is her first time. This is her debut.
Wow.
Welcome to Zoom, sweetie.
Who are all those people?
Yeah. Yeah, so there is time, but you know, the longer you wait, the fewer seats might be available. I think that's what John Graham is concerned about. Okay.
For what it's worth, I'll mention out of DC, I haven't decided when exactly I'm going to leave or if I'm going to do Spinetti yet. John Graham's giving me until the end of February to decide on Spinetti, but I've noticed a lot of Lufthansa flights out of Munich. I think they're apparently allied with United, which is, and Dulles right near my house is a United hub. And I've noticed a lot of flights to Tbilisi from Munich.
Yeah.
Glenn has warned me off of taking Lufthansa from Munich. Apparently, people have had very bad experiences on that flight.
Really?
So I'm taking Air France through Paris.
That's the other option.
Which
So-
turns into Georgian, it links up with the Georgian Airway.
Right.
And
And I'm taking Turkish Air back.
Yeah, Turkish is
Yeah.
convenient from DC as well.
Yeah, a lot of people are going in on through Paris or Munich and then returning out of Istanbul.
Anybody else worried about the bed bugs on Turkish Air?
I didn't hear about that a couple days ago.
What?
Yes.
I was going to do Turkish Air back, but I just saw the article about bed bugs.
Yeah. It was making me lean toward Munich until I heard this.
That's okay. I'll stand up. I won't sit on the flight back.
So I will say I also have had in the last couple of years bad experience with Lufthansa through Munich. Like I've made 4 or 5 flights and my bags never made it on the same flight. So I'm just not checking bags anymore. So that's that solves part of it. But also the customer service was horrible. Like the people at the gate, the people on the plane were lovely, but if you had a problem and needed to go to customer service, they were horrible.
Listen, apropos bags, we sing in suits, right? Not tuxedos.
Definitely not tuxedos, suits, and bring a tie, but it's not clear yet whether the tie will.
But it would be a long tie.
Long tie. That's
Suit and long
correct.
tie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, speaking of flights, has anyone ever done Emirates or Qatar into Tbilisi?
Yeah, I think Qatar always seems to work well in that area. I know they all. That's a Qatar. I was thinking of recommending Qatar to people because it's pretty good.
It's kind of a longer way around, but sure.
Yeah,
that's
but
the way to do it.
yeah.
I wanted to ask a question about shoes. I was
They're
hoping to bring
required, I
only
think.
one pair, right?
All God's children got them, John.
That's right.
Well, I'm
it's
just saying,
everyone
do I
is
need to
saying
bring
that,
a
so
nice
you
pair
remember
of
the Russians
shoes?
sang that for us in the 70s? I got the shoes when I get to heaven.
We'll need a women dress code as well, whether it's suits, I don't care. I got my suit, or whether it's black dress or something, but we'll just figure out. We've got time to figure that out.
Yeah, we got time to figure that out.
I just figure I don't want to be walking all over Georgia in concert shoes.
No, we won't do that.
And I definitely don't fit my tux anymore. So I'm glad of that.
Yeah, I think you're going to need 2 pairs of shoes.
All right.
Are we likely to require a black jacket as opposed to just seeing a white shirt like we did two
September.
concerts ago at the 70th. It's just not, I don't think it's a good look for us, just the white shirt.
I think a dark jacket, but not a tuxedo jacket.
Right.
Got
People
it.
have black
If you've got,
shirts.
if you've got
Not black
a
shirts. No.
blazer, it might be fine too.
I think suit as opposed to blazer and pants. Maybe that should be a standard. for
But
us.
isn't
Fair
it
enough.
black
I
suit?
disagree.
Black
I
suit, black
disagree.
shoes, white
Yeah.
shirt?
Let's aim for that, yes.
Dark, right? Not black.
Dark.
Yeah,
necessarily.
dark to
Dark.
black.
All right, this might be an offline conversation
Yeah,
for the tour committee.
fair enough. Okay, we've got a limited amount of time left. Are you guys ready to dive into some music, or there's more questions? Joe?
Here.
Is there a forum or a way that folks who have done research or know the flights could share with us if they care to?
Tell you
Well,
what, I'll copy the information I have into a file in the Google folder, and if other people have information, they can add it as well, okay?
Thank you.
And I'll send a link around to that.
Hey, Louis, this is Louis.
Yeah, hi.
Louis.
I'm in Mexico City, and I think I got the time zones slightly reversed.
It's
but
always
anyway.
confusing.
Right.
Mexico City and Arizona are confusing.
This was recorded, right? So we can get the
It is
recording.
being recorded, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Great, thanks. Good to see everyone.
Thanks to everyone who
Steve,
joined us. Yeah.
a technical comment. For people, Stephen, there's a setting on Zoom under audio settings for original sound, and people may want to turn that on.
Good idea. If you have that, actually, let me set mine on as, I'll fool with it later. I'm not finding the setting. I don't need it right now.
You go to audio, there's an up arrow.
Well, I turned
sound.
original sound on, but what's how do you, I haven't done these with you guys. What's the plan, Louis?
Well, the plan, once we are actually looking at music, is I've got some sing-along video recordings that I've prepared. And so I think that's the simplest thing that doesn't require everybody trying to sing live at the same time is just to follow along with that. And basically you would be muted, but singing along with the recording that that I put together.
Okay. Just a heads up for next week, if for those of you who are able to make it, what I do is, and I'll try to send out by Wednesday or Thursday, the playlist, which will be all the American stuff, and we hope Bandura and Lille. And if somebody is able to have the PDFs to screen share for those who can't get access to the physical scores on a tablet or print it out, I like people to actually have the music. I sit at the piano and I play and hum or sing through. You all mute, and I color comment as we go. I say this is particularly tricky. I stop. It's sort of like a sectional. So you're all muted. I'm playing and singing. And then I open it up for questions. I tell you how great you sound, given that I can't hear any of you. And then I take questions, and then we move on to the next piece.
Yep.
I flag certain chronic problem areas, and ideally it moves fairly quickly. So I prefer that to listening to a recording of the piece where you don't dig out, especially when it's a new piece, and that way you can sing your own part. And sometimes I bring out I might sing one of the inside parts or whatever. So that's that's the way that'll work next week.
Okay, that sounds good. So to give you an example of what I was talking about, so so there are folders of study materials for all the songs that I put together, not your stuff, Steve, because I haven't received that from you yet. But for example, here is the video I put together. Now that's just doing off of the Google Drive. I have the original videos on my hard drive, and they're versions that accentuate different parts. So those can be used for sectionals as well as ensembles, and you can practice with those on your own time, of course.
Fantastic. That's great, Louis. It's a lot of work.
It's pretty. The stuff in Sibelius, it's pretty good now. Unfortunately, there's a bug in my Sibelius Blaženmuš score, so I don't have a recording of that. But you hopefully all remember the music for Blaženmuš. So, are we ready to talk about Blaženmuš, or are there other questions we need to field first? Okay, so first of all, so the question here was how to deal with the fact that the cave monastery in Kiev is a contentious political flashpoint. How do we avoid either being unintentionally political and sensitive at the same time? And so the solution that I came up with was for the Cyrillic to go back to the traditional pre-Bolshevik spelling of the text, of the Slavonic text. And for those of you who are not familiar with this, the one difference is that in Old Slavonic, there is a letter, you can see it here, called the yat. It's like a B with a cross in it. So all Slavic speakers that know Old Church Slavonic will recognize this, but this vowel, the Russians pronounce it as ye, Ukrainians pronounce it as E. We will pronounce it as E, but Russian listeners probably won't even notice that we've changed the spelling. But if you look at the actual transliteration, this is as Ukrainians sing it, not as how Russians sing it. So let me go over quickly what are some of the major differences. I've already mentioned one, the pronunciation of the letter yat. In Ukrainian, when you have, John is interrupting with a question. Yes.
Could you enlarge that a little bit? I'm having difficulty seeing it.
How is that?
I can just barely see it now, yes.
That's off the drive. All right, hang on a sec. Let me see if I'll pull it up in Acrobat, and then I can zoom it in even.
It's Nasavit instead of Nasaviet.
That is correct.
That's the point of the
That's
new
the point. That's
transliteration.
correct. Yes.
So that'll take some getting used to. The
That's
soloist
one thing
will
that takes getting used
will
to,
help.
yes. All right. Here we go. Okay, can you all see it now?
Yes, I can see it fine now.
Okay. All right. So what you did there, Steve, was on target. Let's just note the differences. So it's ide. It's not idye. The Russians make it soft after an e. Ukrainians do not. So ide na sovit nechestivich. So some of the letters, the E letters in Ukrainian go to E, some of them go to I. It is an I like in the English word ship. It's not as far back as V, the sound in Russian. So in this score, when you see an I with two dots on top of it, that's the notation that Musica Rusica uses. It's an I sound instead of an E sound. Okay, so that's where we are with that. Alleluia, no change there. Yaakov vist Hospod. Okay, here's another change. The G sound in Ukrainian is pronounced as a H, as an H. Hospod, not Gospod, okay? So, Yaakov vist Hospod put pravednych I put nechestivich pohibnet. All right. And then the next verse, same thing. Rabotaite hospodevi sostrachom I raduitesyayemus trepetom. Would you like me to go through that one more time, or did you get the basic idea?
So the basically TE is without palatalization.
It is not. That's right. You do not palatalize before an S sound. Correct.
And gospode is hospode.
Hospode. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Gospod, what used to be gospodievi is hospodevi.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you please say again the first word in verse 3? The first word in verse 3.
Rabotaite.
Te.
Yes.
No more palatalization.
Right.
So you can still palatalize before a V. So hospodevi, but it's the ed that's handled differently. And it repeats that again and again and again. And of course, this is most important for soloists. And this reminds me of another thing, which is Steve and Ray and I will need to assign soloists. So anyone who is game to be a soloist, let us know. We have some ideas, but I don't know all of you. Some of you may have fine solo voices that I don't know about, so I don't want anyone to be. If you are interested in being a soloist, let us know, and we'll see if we can work you in. Okay. But here's a good example. Blažen Muš, 3 solos up for grabs as part of that. Okay, I think that's all that I wanted to cover there on Blaženmuž. We are now nearing the end of the hour. Any other final questions or comments? Anything that we neglected to go over?
So, Louis, just back to the beginning of this, just right there in measure 3. So
Yep.
it's ije ne, not nye.
Correct.
Ije ne ide na sovit.
Yeah. All right. So let's
Nečestivih.
right. Let's let me, just for jollies, let me run through it all one more time so that we're not don't have any questions about further questions about that. Okay, so Blaženmuž, no change there. Ije ne ide na sovit nečestivih.
Good. And then, just the solo line, if you give us the solo line, everything else is the same. So just
That's
go to
correct.
letter A.
Letter A, yes. Jakovic Hospod put pravednych I put nečestivih pohybnet.
And then letter B.
Letter B, on to letter B. Работайте Господеві со страхом і радуйтеся йому з трепетом.
Have you changed the Cyrillic to Ukrainian consistently?
Say what now?
Have you changed the Cyrillic to Ukrainian consistently?
It's
Well,
Slavonic.
It is Slavonic.
Okay.
So it's the pronunciation that's changed, not the
Topography. Okay.
not the topography.
Ukrainians do spell it, have a modern spelling, which is different, but I elected not to use that because then Russians would look at that and say, wait a minute, you're screwing up our song. But nobody would object to the Cyrillic, the traditional Cyrillic. So that's kind of, plus if in the traditional Cyrillic, it's a little bit clearer what the connection is between the Ukrainian Russian and Russian versions. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
Great.
so let's stop there then. Okay, so we're at the top of the hour. Thanks everybody. We'll see. We'll hope to see you guys next week. And Joe Finetta, if you want to stay on the call, please do. The rest of you we'll see you. Hope to see you soon. Okay.
Thank you,
And-
Louis, for organizing this.
Yes,
You're most
Louis,
welcome.
if I schedule next week till 5:15, is that a monkey wrench in things? Is that a hardship?
All right. Before people leave, let's discuss. It's not a problem for me.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Okay. All right. I
Is-
figured you need time. So and hopefully next week we'll have less logistics to talk about. So that'll leave more time for music.
Starting at 3:45 again next week.
3:45 to
3:45.
5:15, and I'll confirm the playlist and I'll try to link to Louis's repertoire with the PDFs, which is so useful.
Are there currently any other scheduled Zoom rehearsals we should be marking in our calendars?
So just mark this session weekly between now and March 7th. If something comes up and we decide we don't need it, then in the unlikely event that we decide we don't need it, we'll cancel. But I think we're going to want these sessions through March 7th. Don't feel like you have to attend every one. We will record them, but we've got a lot of music to go through. So I think we'll
And the sessions won't go to daily sessions until April. Mark. And then they won't be hourly before May 15th.
And then when do we go to two-a-days?
The two-a-days, when do those start, Louis? Okay.
April 20th.
All right.
All right, guys. Okay, thanks.
But
All
Louis,
right.
when
Thanks,
will you post?
Louis. Great work.
When will you
Terrific.
post the re-recording?
Okay.
Hey, Louis, before I go, when will you post?